Hello and welcome to my studio. In this video I'm going to show you how I made this image. Now this illustrates quite a few different points. The first of which, and the most obvious, is depth of field. So in order to create that image, let me just take you through the various bits that I've already got set up here. So on this table I've got a piece of red cotton, and suspended on that red cotton I've got this needle. It is very small, as you can see just there. And the whole idea of this is that we'll focus on the needle itself, and therefore the red cotton will go out of focus on each side. And from that you'll be able to see just what the depth of field, or apparent depth of field, actually is for different f-stops on this lens. Okay, so talking of the lenses, this is an 85mm 1.2, and I've got a 25mm extension tube between the lens and the camera body, and the camera is, as usual, tethered into this PC. Okay, so with all this set, and I have previously focused this manually. We'll see what it looks like on the monitor. One of the first things to do would be just to take an image without any flash, just to see if we're getting any contamination from the house lights. So I'll just trigger an image, and you can see that that is virtually dark. We're getting one or two slight highlights, but nothing to speak of, nothing that's going to affect the image. So I'm quite happy with that. So that would bring us round to the time when we want to actually start putting some lighting in. Now this is, as I said before, a very small subject. One of the things to remember about lighting small subjects is that the size of the light source needs to be proportional to the size of the subject for a particular type of lighting. So for instance, in this instance, I want to have specular highlights. I want a very hard light. Therefore, I need really a point light source. Okay, so let me just bring in a light and I'll show you a bit more about what I mean. So this is going to be my main light. And this is a Profoto D2. This is a 1000 joule unit, but the important thing to remember about this is that the front element of the light here is about 100mm across. Therefore, if I put that light source very close in here somewhere, it will appear like a very large softbox, which will give you a very soft light, which in this instance isn't what I want. So I'm purposely putting it quite a long way away. I'm putting it about 5 times the diameter of the light away, about half a meter, because that will give me the equivalent of a point light source. Okay, so with that in place, if I just pop a flash trigger on the top of the camera here. Right, and we'll just turn on that head, like so. Just test that. Yep, that's going. So if I just arbitrarily take an image there, right, well we can see from that that it is a little overcooked and needs to go down in energy by, I would say, probably 2 stops. Take another one. There we go, that's better. Okay, so from here we can see that I have my camera shutter speed set to the flash sync speed, which is 250th of a second. I've put an aperture of 2.8 on to start with, and that's not giving us too bad a result. We'll just check the focus while we're here. Yeah, that looks okay. We're getting a little bit of aberration around the top here. but that's to be expected really with this type of lens. Okay, so we just put a mark on that one. So that's what happens with everything set and with it at about 2.8. So just to illustrate what happens with changes in aperture, what I'll do is I'll change the aperture from 2.8 to f8, which is 3 stops. So I'll need to add 3 stops of energy, which I'll just do. There we go. And you should be able to see the difference that we're getting there. So if I now take this from f8 and I put it up to the maximum for this lens, which is f16, so I'll add another 3 stops to the flash. And that illustrates the point quite well. So that is the image at 2.8. That's at f8. And that's at f16. So you can see the differences in the apparent depth of field by the way that this out of focus portion of the cotton has changed. So that's f16. And that's 2.8. So what happens if we go even wider? Well, this lens is capable of going down to 1.2, so let's give that a go. So again, if I just reset this all the way down to 1.2, and I'll need to take 7 stops off the light there, like so. And now you can see that the total image is actually being degraded quite a long way and is generally a lot softer than the 2.8. So that's the 2.8 and that's the 1.2. But this softness is what makes these lenses really good for portraiture. If you have them wide open like this, they gives a very, very nice soft image. But for this particular image, that's not what I want. I want something that's hard and focused. So I'm going to go back to 2.8, like so, and I'll just reset the energy on that light appropriately. Okay, so the original image had a different background to the one that we've captured at the moment. So let me just show you how I put that together. I used this card on a stand about here somewhere to give me a background. I might move that away actually just a little bit, like so. And I'm going to illuminate this with another flash. So I'll just bring that in. So this is another D2 on a stand, just pointing at the background. Pop that in there. Something like that. So we'll just turn that one on and give that a bit of a test as well. So I'll just check it's working. There we go. And now we'll just capture an image. Right, so that's possibly a little bright. Let's take it down 3 stops, like that. Maybe can come down a bit more than that actually. Let me just take that down another stop. There, that's okay. But in the original image, it was green. So in order to make that green, I've got a piece of gel here, which I'm just going to attach to the front of the light. So I'll just pop this on here, like that. And we'll give that another test. There we are. Yeah, so that's not looking too bad at all. Another thing that I might want to do here is just illuminate the front side of this needle. Now, as I mentioned before, I want this to stay specular. So I don't want to do this with a piece of white card to recycle some of this light. I'm going to do it with a mirror, because the mirror will maintain the specular qualities of the light. So if I just pop this in here somewhere, just pop that in and lean it up against the other stand, and we'll just give that a test. There. Now you should be able to see the difference that has made. So that's the previous image, and that's what we've got now. So now we have this highlight running all the way down the edge of the needle. In fact, that is so prominent, what I might do is just turn down the energy on that light ever so slightly. So we'll take maybe half a stop off it, like that, and we'll give that another go. There we are. Yeah, that's looking quite good. Okay, one of the other things that I think may be happening here is we might be getting some contamination from this light on the background there. So in order to negate that, what I will do is just use this piece of card just to flag the side of the light off, like so. So I'll just hold that in with my hand and just trigger that with the trigger on the camera. There you go. And you should be able to see the difference that has made. That's what we had before, and that's what we've got now. So that's pretty good. I think the only other thing is this background light is slightly in the wrong place. I would like to move it over slightly, just so that it matches the rest of the scene. Let me just do that. In fact, I should be able to just tilt it. Let's try that. So holding in the flag, just like this. In fact, I'll hold it the other way up. Like that. There we are. So that's what we had before. That's what we've got now. That's quite nice. I quite like that. Okay, so all that remains is to go into Photoshop and review the results. So that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, here we are in Photoshop. I've loaded in all the results. Let's have a look at them. So this was the first image that we took, which was at 2.8, and you can see from this that this is showing how the focus point is changing, going backwards and forwards from the needle. So if we then have a look at what happens when you move to f8 instead of 2.8, you can see that the actual part which is still in focus is exactly the same. If I go between these, if I make all this a bit bigger so we can see what we're doing, if I bring it up to 100%, I bring this one up to 100% as well, so the focus point on these two is in exactly the same place. I haven't moved the lens at all. But you can see what is happening to the cotton. And this becomes even more exaggerated if you go all the way to f16. So again, I'll just bring this up to full magnification or 100%. So that's f16, that's f8, and that's 2.8. Okay, so if we just go back to the 2.8 image and I just Make that the same size, like so. This is what happened when I put it down to 1.2, and the whole image has become considerably softer, which is nice if it's a portrait, but not that nice if you're trying to do this sort of thing. Okay, and then finally, we added the green background, and that complements the image quite nicely. So that's it really. All I would do at this point, I think, is just add a crop. So this is the usual 16:9. Move that down to there somewhere. And click on OK. And there we have it. So I hope you found that useful. It does demonstrate just what you can do with different lenses at different apertures and the true meaning of depth of field. Okay, well I hope you found that useful. If you like watching these sort of things, just click on the other images as they turn up, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you very much. I'll see you on the next one.